Hi friends. Platform businesses are the talk of the town today, and primary reason for that is operating leverage. Because if operating leverage start working for platform businesses at scale, that can do wonders. We are going to study one of those platform business today. And beauty of this platform business is it's not only platform, but it's a near monopoly platform, right? MCX, Multi Commodity Exchange of India, is a high growth platform business. One, it has experience of decades. Two, and right now it is going through a great commodity upcycle, which directly helps MCX. We'll do a non-hype analysis of MCX as a business. We'll study what does MCX do, what are the positive triggers, and if you are a busy professional who have keen interest in markets, who have keen interest in investment, I'll give you 4 5 easy triggers which you can track to know whether your investment thesis in MCX is working fine or not. So, without further ado, let's dive in. MCX, India's commodity market and the really big infrastructure story. What is MCX? MCX is a commodity exchange. All of us know that. But there are few myths about MCX. So let's address those first. And maybe that will give us an idea how does MCX operate and what it is and what it is not. So many people think MCX is exchange where you can go and purchase commodity like you purchase stocks on NSE, BSE, which are equivalent exchanges on equity, but not like that. MCX derivative exchange only. It is not a spot exchange. There are few spot exchanges also. Spot exchanges are the one where you can go and purchase any commodity at the price which is prevailing in market today. There are few spot exchanges which have developed in India, which have gone bust. Also, a few of them are still running, but MCX is not one of those. MCX is a derivative only exchange. And what is derivative? And if you are not a trader, those who have not actually participated in any future and options transactions might find it little difficult to understand what derivatives are. I'll try to simplify it. And it is a basic thing. And once we study, and we'll probably study it with some example, that will help you understand what is maybe a future, what is maybe an option. Because whenever we hear any media, as a phrase is always there together, which makes sometimes very confusing for a normal person who is actually not in trading to understand what are futures and what are options. So maybe let's, before dive in, this is our standard disclaimers and disclosures. I'm not a SEBI registered investment advisor. This is not an investment advice at all. All we are doing is studying a business from educational perspective only. And especially when a business like MCX, which has grown multiple fold in last 4 or 5 quarters, this is not investment advice at all. This is just to understand the lay of land, how a commodity exchange works, how the MCX is placed, what are the key points, what are the risks, what are the benefits, how an investor should think about it, and study a business in depth. This will be a depth video, and I hope by the end of this video, you'll understand the total working of MCX. So MCX, as I said, is a derivative platform. In derivative platform, normally futures and options, those trades. What are futures and what are options? So let's study them one by one. Let's take an example. I'm a farmer and I'm maybe producing a crop of soybean. And someone else is a industrialist who is taking the soybean and creating a soybean oil out of it. Take any example. It could work with a vegetable farmer or steel producer, gold importer, any example. Ultimately, एक बंदा है जो कमोडिटी को प्रोड्यूस कर रहा है और एक बंदा है जो कमोडिटी को यूज करके कुछ और एंड प्रोडक्ट बना रहा है, एंड बोथ ऑफ देम, be it someone who is producing it or importing it, or someone who is consuming it and creating an end product, both of them are wary of price fluctuation in it. अगर मैं सोयाबीन का और मैंने कुछ एक रॉ मटेरियल की कॉस्ट लगा के अपनी मेहनत लगा के एक सोयाबीन की क्रॉप लगाई है, पर जो सोयाबीन का प्राइस है, मेरे को पता है कि आज से 3 महीने बाद मेरे पास जो सोयाबीन की क्रॉप बनेगी, लेट्स से 10 क्विंटल की क्रॉप होगी, उसका जो प्राइस है ना वो मेरे कंट्रोल में नहीं है. दैट प्राइस इज ड्रिवन इंटरनेशनली, दैट प्राइस इज ड्रिवन ऑन बेसिस ऑफ सप्लाई एंड डिमांड, जैसा कोई भी कमोडिटी के केस में होता है. बट क्योंकि मेरे को पता है मेरा क्या रॉ मटेरियल लगा है, मेरी क्या मेहनत लगी है और उसके बाद क्या मार्जिन लेना चाहता हूं, आई वांट टू फिक्स दिस मार्जिन, और आई डोंट वांट टू प्ले ऑन दैट वोलेटिलिटी ऑफ द प्राइस. मेरे को उससे बचना है एज अ फार्मर. तो मेरे लिए दिस इज समथिंग प्रॉब्लमेटिक. वेयर एज जो इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट है उसको भी यही प्रॉब्लम है. ही ऑल्सो डजंट नो कि उसका जो रॉ मटेरियल है, इस केस में सोयाबीन, जिससे वो सोयाबीन ऑयल बना रहा है, उसको सोयाबीन ओनली रॉ मटेरियल, उसके ऊपर से प्रोसेसिंग करनी है, उसमें से ऑयल निकालना है, पैकेजिंग करनी है, डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन करनी है, मार्केट में लेके जाना है. तो वेजिटेबल ऑयल बनाने वाले के लिए और फार्मर के लिए, दोनों के लिए प्राइस हेजिंग करना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. बायर, ही जो प्रोड्यूसर है, ही वुड वांट टू फिक्स दिस प्राइस समहाउ, कि इस प्राइस से नीचे मेरा माल ना जाए, एटलीस्ट सो दैट आई कैन अर्न समथिंग आउट ऑफ इट. एंड सिमिलरली जो मेरा इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट है, ही विल आल्सो वांट कि मैं इससे ज्यादा पे ना करूं, क्योंकि मार्केट में ज्यादा होगा तो मेरा रॉ मटेरियल कॉस्ट होगा, मेरा ऑपरेटिंग मार्जिन खराब हो जाएगा, अनलेस एंड अनटिल आई एम एबल टू पास ऑन एनी प्राइस एडवांटेज ओवर देयर. सो because now this is in favor of both of the parties, they would want to fix price of this commodity in future. कि जब आज से 3 महीने बाद मेरी क्रॉप रेडी होगी और मेरे इंडस्ट्रीज को सामान चाहिए, आई वुड वांट, ओके, सोयाबीन आज की डेट में अगर 1500 रुपए पर केजी आता फॉर एग्जांपल, तो मैं चाहता हूं कि मैं उसको फिक्स कर दूं कि दिट विल शुड नॉट गो लेट्स से मोर देन 1600. सो मैं एज अ फार्मर बोलता हूं कि 3 महीने बाद आप मेरे से इतनी क्वालिटी का, इतनी क्वांटिटी, आप मेरे से XYZ प्राइस लेट से 1600 पे ले लेना. ये फ्यूचर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट हो गया. मैं फरवरी में बैठा हूं, बट मैं बोलता हूं कि जब मेरी क्रॉप रेडी होगी इन केस मंथ ऑफ मे, मैं आपको ये दे दूंगा. जो मेरा इंडस्ट्रीज है वो भी से ओके है, बिकॉज उसको पता है उसको कन्वर्ट करना है, ऑयल में कन्वर्ट करना है, जिसको उसका फिक्स प्राइस है, मार्केट में बेचता है, तो ही इज ओके. तो वो क्या कर रहे हैं फ्यूचर में जाके, दिस इज अ फ्यूचर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट, कि मैंने क्या किया है, एक प्रोड्यूसर ने और एक मैन्युफैक्चरर ने कॉन्ट्रैक्ट बनाया है फॉर अ फ्यूचर डेट, फिक्सिंग द प्राइस एंड क्वालिटी टुडे, सो दैट बोथ ऑफ देम आर एक्चुअली अवर्सिंग एनी प्राइस वोलेटिलिटी. अब इसमें 3 केस हो सकते हैं. सोयाबीन का केस, जो प्राइस है, हो सकता है कि 3 महीने बाद 1600 से ज्यादा हो, 1600 से कम हो, या 1600 ही हो. अगर 1600 ही होता है तो डजंट मैटर, फार्मर को पहले भी 1600 मिलने थे, अब भी 1600 मिलेंगे, इंडस्ट्रीज को पहले भी 1600 देने थे, अब भी 1600 देने. बट व्हाट इफ अगर वो 1600 से ज्यादा हो जाता है, लेट्स से 1700 हो जाता है, इफ दैट इज 1700, इन दैट केस फार्मर इज लूजिंग सम मनी ऑन द टेबल just because he didn't want to play that volatility. Had he gone on any open market, तो उस केस में वो he could have been selling that soybean at 1700 rupees. But now because he got in a contract, future is a contract which is a mandatory contract, जो mandatory obligation है फार्मर को और मैन्युफैक्चरर दोनों को, उनको वो देना ही पड़ेगा at the rate of 1600. मैन्युफैक्चरर के लिए तो obviously is advantageous, otherwise open market से उसको 1700 में मिलता, now he is getting it in 1600, so he will definitely want to pursue this contract. That happens. Similarly अगर रेट कम हो जाते, let's say 1400 रुपीज का रेट हो जाता, still farmer would have been happy. This is the only price volatility जिसकी वजह से वो इस कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में गया था. Now he still gets 1600 rupees per kg per quintal, whatever the rate be, और जो मैन्युफैक्चरर है उसको still 1600 रुपीज देने पड़ेंगे, बिकॉज ऑब्वियसली उसका प्राइस कैप था, दो मार्केट में जाएगा तो 1400 में मिल जाएगा, बट ही विल हैव टू ऑब्लिगेट द मैंडेटरी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट विच ही गॉट इनटू विद द पार्टी विच इज द फार्मर ओवर हियर. तो ये तो हुआ मेरा फ्यूचर. मैंने प्राइस को फिक्स कर दिया और दैट इज मैंडेटरी टू गेट इन, विच इज मैंडेटरी टू ऑब्लिगेट टू। नॉर्मली जो सेटलमेंट होती है इनकी प्राइस लेवल पे सेटलमेंट हो जाती है, दो देयर इज ऑप्शन टू गेट अ डिलीवरी आल्सो, बट दैट्स हाउ फ्यूचर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स वर्क। वेयर जो सेकेंडरी टाइप ऑफ हमारे डेरिवेटिव्स होते हैं, दीज आर ऑप्शंस डेरिवेटिव। ऑप्शंस एज अ नेम सजेस्ट, ऑप्शन इज अ ऑप्शन वेदर आई वांट टू परस्यू दैट ऑप्शन और नॉट। सेम एग्जांपल लेके चलते हैं, या चलो एक दूसरी इंडस्ट्री का एग्जांपल ले लेते हैं। लेट्स से गोल्ड, मैं ज्वेलर हूं, लेट्स से आई एम अ कल्याण ज्वेलर, एंड आई अगेन gold is a raw material to me. I don't want to play the price volatility of gold. आज की डेट में तो गोल्ड ऊपर जा रहा है, which is okay, बट कभी डाउन भी तो जा सकता है ना। तो why would I want to keep inventory on my books which is a gold inventory जिसकी प्राइस डिके हो सकती है या कम हो सकती है, because whatever margin I am making as a jeweler, be it Kalyan, be it PNG Garde, whosoever, Senco, Titan, they all hedge their इन्वेंट्री। इनफैक्ट कभी हम जब गोल्ड वाले बिजनेसेस की बात करेंगे, ज्वेलर्स की बात करेंगे, तो वो कितनी अपनी इन्वेंट्री हेज करके रखते हैं उसके बेसिस पे मार्केट उनको वैल्यू करता है। हंगामाइल के केस में ज्यादा है, सेंको के केस में कम है, ऑल दैट मैटर्स इन द फाइनल वैल्यूएशन। बट कमिंग बैक टू द एग्जांपल, एज अ ज्वेलर मेरे को ऑप्शन चाहिए कि आई शुड हैव राइट टू परचेज दिस गोल्ड लेट्स से एट $4,000। इस रेट पे मैं ऑप्शन खरीदना चाहता हूं। देयर इज अ स्पेकुलेटर इन मार्केट, लेट्स से वो स्पेकुलेटर क्या कर रहा है, जो गोल्ड के स्पेकुलेशन के साथ खेल रहा है, वो अज्यूम कर रहा है कि प्राइस है गोल्ड का शायद 4,000 नहीं रहेगा, वो ना 3,800 ही रह जाएगा डॉलर्स के टर्म्स में। तो व्हाट ही सेज कि आई विल राइट अ ऑप्शन। एक ऑप्शन का राइटर होता है और एक ऑप्शन का परचेजर होता है। एक ऑप्शन राइट करके दे रहा है कि you can purchase gold from me, or you can buy gold from me in a future date, let's say end of March, at $4,000। ये एक ऑप्शन हो गई। अब कल्याण कहता है ठीक है, मेरे को तो लग रहा है कि 4,000 से ज्यादा होगा प्राइस, तो मैं तो ये ऑप्शन लेने को तैयार हूं। तो जो राइटर है इस केस में ये कॉल टाइप की ऑप्शन हो रही है। दो तरह की ऑप्शन होती है, कॉल और पुट। कॉल होती है जहां पे होता है मेरे पास राइट टू बाई। यहां पे कल्याण ने बोला आई हैव राइट टू बाई विद ऑप्शन टू बाई दिस पर्टिकुलर गोल्ड एट $4,000 एट एंड ऑफ मार्च। ठीक है, तो जो मैं राइटर हूं, अगर कोई स्पेकुलेटर है जो राइटर हो, कहता है ये आपका ऑप्शन तो है, बट आपको इसके लिए मेरे को कोई प्रीमियम देना पड़ेगा, एंड दिस प्रीमियम इज अपफ्रंट। सो कल्याण ज्वेलर्स विल पे अ प्रीमियम टू ऑप्शन राइटर कि भाई ये लो, आज की डेट में $200 आप पकड़ लो, दिस इज अ प्रीमियम, ये $200 मैं आपको दे रहा हूं, सो दैट आई कैन नाउ परचेज दिस गोल्ड एट एंड ऑफ मार्च, एंड फॉर आई हैव ऑप्शन टू परचेज दिस गोल्ड इन एंड ऑफ मार्च एट $4,000। ठीक है, दैट्स ऑप्शन, दैट्स कॉल ऑप्शन और बाय ऑप्शन। अब होगा क्या फ्यूचर में, जब जाके 31 मार्च को या तो प्राइस अगेन 4,000 से कम होंगे या 4,000 होंगे, 4,000 से ज्यादा होंगे। नाउ इफ इट इज मोर देन 4,000, प्राइस मार्केट में 4,000 से ज्यादा है, तो कल्याण ज्वेलर्स विल बी वेरी हैप्पी। दे विल से बिकॉज मार्केट में प्राइस इज 4,500 और मैंने ऑप्शन ली हुई है $200 की एक प्रीमियम देके, आई कैन एक्चुअली परचेज दिस गोल्ड एट $4,000। लेट्स डू इट। तो अल्टीमेटली मैंने प्राइस कितना दिया, 200 मैंने पहले दे दिए थे मैंडेटरी एज अ प्रीमियम, 4,000 और, तो 4,200 is what I'm paying to get a gold which was worth actually 4,500। इन दिस केस जो ऑप्शन राइटर है उसको ये ऑब्लिगेट करना ही पड़ेगा, और जो ऑप्शन परचेजर था विच इज कल्याण ज्वेलर्स, उसके पास ऑप्शन है कि वो इसको ले या नहीं ले। तो अल्टीमेटली ये प्राइस ट्रांजैक्शन और मनी ट्रांजैक्शन प्राइमरली हो जाएगी, या डिलीवरी भी लेनी तो डिलीवरी ले सकते हैं। सेकंड केस क्या हो सकता है, सेकंड केस हो सकता है कि प्राइस एक्चुअली वेंट डाउन as the option writer, the speculator was presuming it to, ki price is at 3,500 now. Now price is at 3,500 and Kalyan Jewellers says, yeah, today is 31st March and I have this option to purchase gold at $4,000. But market में तो प्राइस चल रहा है 3,500 का, even when I have paid $200, which is a premium, which was my safety net I paid for, I don't want to purchase this because मेरे को 3500 में बाजार से मिल जाएगा भाई. I should I pay 4000? So he has an option to not purchase it. तो राइटर का क्या फायदा हुआ? राइटर का फायदा हुआ वो $200 जो प्रीमियम में उसको मिले थे ऑप्शन राइटर को, और जो परचेजर था वो उसको फोरगो कर देगा, उसको कुछ नहीं करने को मिलेगा. राइट, उसके जो $200 थे वो एज अ प्रीमियम चले गए. दैट वाज ओनली इंश्योरेंस अमाउंट, उसको कुछ नहीं मिला. तो ये हो गया ऑप्शन वेयर ऑप्शन परचेजर हैज अ ऑप्शन टू गो इनटू दैट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट और नॉट एट द एंड ऑफ द पीरियड. दूसरा केस क्या हो सकता था? देयर इज अ ऑप्शन टू सेल विच इज वेरी सिमिलर टू अ कॉल ऑप्शन, जस्ट एज इसको पुट ऑप्शन बोलते हैं, जहां पे एक स्पेकुलेटर इज रेडी टू सेल एट फ्यूचर प्राइस. जैसे बाई का ऑप्शन था वैसे ही सेल का ऑप्शन है, जस्ट दैट इक्वेशन यहां पे रिवर्स हो जाती है. जो खरीद रहा होता है, अगर रेट उसको कम होता है देन ही विल सेल इट, ज्यादा होता है तो ही विल फॉरगो इट. और रेट अगर जो परचेजर होता है या जो ऑप्शन राइटर होता है उसको सिर्फ प्रीमियम ही मिलेगा. तो अल्टीमेटली जो ऑप्शन राइटर है उसकी जो अपसाइड है वो कैप्ड है. उसकी अपसाइड कितनी है? प्रीमियम. ऑप्शन राइटर को प्रीमियम से ज्यादा कभी नहीं मिल सकता. वेयर जो ऑप्शन परचेजर है उसकी जो अपसाइड है अल्टीमेट है. मान लो गोल्ड है, जैसा बुलरन अभी पिछले 2 महीने में हुआ है, किसी ने एक ऑप्शन खरीदी थी $4000 की और मान लो 5000 हो गया. ही इज गेटिंग $5000 ही इज गेटिंग ऑन दैट ऑप्शन इजिली. और मल्टीपल लॉट में ही कैन मेक फॉर्च्यून्स. राइट. सो ऑप्शन राइटर upside is capped, downside is unlimited. Option purchaser, upside is unlimited, downside is capped. ज्यादा से ज्यादा क्या लूज करेगा? सिर्फ प्रीमियम. बोथ फ्यूचर्स एंड ऑप्शंस आर दैट्स वाई जीरो सम गेम. एक पैसा बनाएगा, एक खोएगा, एक बनाएगा, एक खोएगा, चाहे वो फ्यूचर है चाहे वो ऑप्शन है. बट इन ऑल दिस जितनी भी ट्रांजेक्शन हो रही है, there is one entity which will always make money and that is MCX. Because आप चाहे बायर हो, चाहे आप सेलर हो, चाहे आप परचेजर हो, ऑप्शन राइटर हो, आप कुछ भी हो, for all this you have to pay some transaction fees to change who is facilitating this. So that is where the business, complete business segment of MCX is. MCX को सारा का सारा पैसा ये जो फ्यूचर्स और ऑप्शंस जो ट्रेड कर रहे हैं, and these future and options can trade on multiple things. These can trade for precious metals, base metals, agri commodities and whatnot. We'll discuss those also. So ultimately जो trade अपने को समझ में आ गया. Actual में trade कैसे होता है? There's a hedger and a speculator. एक को hedge करना है, एक को speculate करना है. Let's say gold वाला जो केस हमने लिया था, दोनों के अपने अपने brokers है, उसके थ्रू वो ऑर्डर प्लेस करते हैं, जैसे इक्विटी के अंदर आप करते हो. I have a broker of let's say Zerodha or SDFC or ICICI. Those are my brokers. Whereas exchange बीच में क्या है? NSE and BSE. Similarly, exchange is MCX only. Broker कोई भी हो सकता है. I place my order. MCX will make meet a buyer and seller at the right price, and that there is a clearing corp which will maintain all the auditing, all the actual. So this is also a MCX entity which takes if delivery is required. Future के केस में अगर delivery actual में देनी है तो they maintain. Make sure the delivery is in place, all the quality is there, whatever future contract I got into, that's is happening for sure. So, as I said, a hedger gets safety, a trader gets opportunity, and MCX gets to paid regardless. That's the beauty of this. That's the magic of this business. So MCX ने हमारे लिए क्या क्या किया? MCX provided us with a marketplace because we don't know. If I'm writing an option for $4000 of gold, who is there to purchase it? Right? MCX will help me find that. MCX is a rule setter. They are standardizing everything. I'm getting a contract of soybean, but of what quality? That quality standards are defined in the contract by MCX. And because I don't know who the seller on the other side is, who the purchaser on the other side is, MCX is my risk mitigator or the risk manager. They are guaranteeing me a settlement. And why I said this is a neutral infrastructure monopoly at the start of the video, look at the share. For precious metal, 100% share. Almost 100% share in energies and base metals also. So it's a market maker. As long as we have commodities, as long as we have commodity derivatives, MCX is there and MCX will keep on growing based on that. So that's our insights, and that's why we are studying MCX today. If you look at it, there's a great disconnect in what are the consumption that we have as India and how much financialization of that consumption, especially on a commodity side, that has happened. We are a great consumption. This consumption story is going on for long. All global countries are now doing FTAs with us and we are doing FTAs with them just to share markets. यूरोप के साथ FTA डील हो रही है, मिडिल ईस्टर्न कंट्रीज के साथ FTA डील्स हो रही है, that is to share markets. India is such a big market opportunity for everyone, and so is Europe, so is other African countries and Middle Eastern countries and US for that matter. India is a great consumer of physical things like gold from a commodity side, energy, metals. But if you look at the financialization of these commodities, that's minuscule. From equity side, our market cap is 120% of our GDP. But if you look at derivative trades is maybe not even 3 to 5% currently. So and this, if you look at global exchanges, there are global commodity exchanges like we have LME, the London Metal Exchange, and US exchanges on metal. These exchanges are actually 20 to 30x of their physical volume. And we are in lower single digits. You're seeing the upside. And as more and more people get educated about it, more and more people get to understand this financialization, and the more industry gets into hedging, because they need to hedge. You cannot always be playing the price. And use that the example that I gave you. Jewelers with better hedging gets better valuation, and that will and that is happening in other industries also. We need to make sure I cannot be only be dependent on international supply and demand of my entities, the raw material that I need, be it steel, be it base metals, be it agri products, be it precious metals. If India financializes commodity, way it is have been done in developed markets, MCX can touch the roof. The potential the MCX has is wonderful. It's amazing. It's so huge. It will be very difficult for us to even fathom, imagine that. As I was saying, from a global benchmark, commodity exchange volumes are multiples of equity markets. For US or global, including London Metal Exchange, their commodity volume is 2x to 3x. Whereas right now, Indian commodity market is just a fraction of equity markets. Equity markets is already 120% of our GDP. India's equity market is 4 to 5 trillion currently, but commodity market is really decent of that. Just 3 to 5% of it. So this is not a cyclical story. This is structural story, and MCX is now at the curve where it is catching up with its global peer, or at least try to catch up with the global peer, and the runway is huge in front of it. की डेट में जो हमको दिखता है MCX में, what we see is only precious metals. We only see jewelers and physical hedgers. Those are doing the hedging, because gold is, all of us know, dollar driven है, rupee weak होता है तो gold बढ़ता है. So jewelers are the first one to start doing hedging, but there are a lot of in dark participation which can come up, which can rise actually with a retail participation, which is now is increasing in equity. Equity mein you must have heard FNO participation is increasing over there, but that will transact to commodity also sooner or later. The institutional access has increased since multi-asset funds have been announced by various mutual funds. All of them are taking commodity positions, be it in precious metal or base metals or agri commodity, through MCXs. Those are the great users personas for MCX. And as options are growing, as people are growing, MCX is also innovating with new and new product. If you talk about, if I have to compare MCX of today, it is that nascent as NSC of 2005 or BSC of 2005. See, how multifold NSCs has grown from 2005 to 2026. That is the kind of potential MCX has if everything else, other risk and everything that we talk about in this presentation remains intact. So it's worth study this company for now. Options traders from equity and commodity, there is no match at all. Even when the UCCs, which are the unique line code, these are the registered unique line code as per MCX from December quarter, that is 4.03 crores. Still, the active unique people, those who are doing trades, will be in higher lakhs, higher single digit or early double digit lakhs. So that's where even when the retail and institutional participation is growing, but as compared to equity, it is minuscule and the runway is large. Another myth which people have related to MCX is MCX only works if a gold price goes up. But as because of all the reasons that I have explained it to you so far, that is not true at all. For MCX, for derivatives trading, volatility is the best friend. If price becomes volatile, price goes ups and down, that's where more and more options, more and more futures will be written. That is where more and more people will come and transact about it. So MCX need not, MCX doesn't need gold to go up. MCX actually need gold to be more volatile, which is happening. Which someone sitting in US is doing that. Someone sitting in various central banks of the world is doing that because they are purchasing it. Gold is bound to be volatile for some time. And that is what will impact the business of MCX going forward. So commodity exchange and MCX over here becomes a great proxy of such volatility of prices. See the volatility that has happened in silver in last 3 weeks. Up, down, up. Same is with gold. What is a friend? What is a proxy to it? How can you play this volatility? You cannot only sit on a physical thing. You should have your asset allocation and all, and we'll talk about asset allocation someday. But from a volatility perspective, exchange, a commodity exchange is a bigger bet. And all because of this volatility. In last quarter, which results, which is a Q3 FY26, which is December 2025 ending quarter, revenue was up 121% year on year. That's the magic of volatility. So MCX is what? MCX acts as a bridge. What it is selling? It is selling a toll booth. It's selling a access to that bridge, sitting on a toll booth. You pass through that bridge, pay the toll price. And MCX will earn from it. That is the business model of MCX. Asset price is good, but asset price will matter to a trader. It will matter to a speculator who is writing option for Kalyan Jeweler, or will matter to Kalyan Jeweler if they are into future contract and not the option contract. For exchanges, volatility is the best friend. If there is a 10 to 15% volatility over a quarter, that's great for them. More and more options will be written, more and more futures contract will be written, and MCX will earn on all of them. And MCX will monetize this uncertainty. See the beauty of it. You need not sit on a physical inventory which is volatile. You have to sit on a contract. You have to sit on a company who is actually writing that contract. So another thing which is happening and which is very, very, very important from MCX point of view, which is since the options has been introduced in MCX, the commodity precious metal options, earlier there was only futures. Now options has been introduced. And options are such retail friendly because a lower margin is required. You only play with premium and you actually don't play with the notional price. The participation has increased drastically, is multiple fold. So obviously, the risk profile is asymmetric with the options. Capital required is low, risk profile is asymmetric, but retail, because the margin requirement is very, very less. That's where retail gets excited about it. And quality of the revenue, even though you only earn on premium, the percentage in overall terms will decrease, but the volume is so high, this MCX revenue quality becomes really higher. And that was shown in our FY26 Q3 results. Options revenue was actually more than futures revenue. That's the beauty of it. So why options matter? It's a high velocity product, high volume product. It's a lower ticket size, as I said. And because it is option, as I said, and if someone is writing that option, the loss profile is limited for a buyer of it. And normally retail is normally a buyer of an option. It's hired traders, those get into writing options. A retailer is normally a buyer. And so my risk profile is capped. My loss is limit to my premium, and it is not, I'm not getting into a future uncertainty on price above that premium value. That's why this option matters. So value chain is very simple, as I talked. There is global volatility, and this global volatility is supposed to be there for some time because of geopolitics, because of different Fed rates, because of the moving inflations, because of the various decisions of central banks. That is leading to more and more participants. Those are coming on platform of MCX, be it hedgers, be it traders, various institutions. Those are coming because of various additions into the categories. SIFs, those can go into multiple assets, or multi-assets mutual funds. Those can come and trades on commodity on MCX. And as participants are increasing, as more and more traffic is going through the bridge, what's happening? More and more toll is getting corrected. MCX transaction fees is increasing because of that. So it's a wonderful business from, if you look at from the perspective of how the revenue is getting generated for that. More volume, more transaction, more revenue. And with this revenue, remember the first line that you talked, it's a platform business. Because it is a platform business, it is more, what are the major two costs that they have? One, technology, two, employees. Technology, and we'll talk in depth about it because very important for you to know if you are studying or analyzing MCX for the first time. MCX was not doing well in 2023, 2022, 23, 24. Because at that time, their tech was not very stable. The platform was not very stable. The platform at that time was provided by 63 Moons, which is part of their FTIL, which is the initial promoter of MCX only. That was not able to cater to the volume which surged because of COVID. At that time, MCX decided, okay, we will outsource this to TCS. And in fact, there was some SEBI regulation also because they had to move away from any relationship with FTIL. FTIL was the initial promoter. And I think we should talk about it, and this is very important. And MCX, not MCX, but the initial promoter of MCX has a history of scams. There was a spot trading platform which was run by FTIL, which got into lot of regulatory problems because they were not able to cater to various spots contracts they were facilitated on their platform. Because of which there was a very bad time for MCX, though there was nothing in MCX, but because promoters were same, MCX had to go through great scrutiny between 2020, 2012 to 2015 primarily, and the stocks was not performing at all. Obviously not. Nobody will invest at that time. I will not invest, you will not invest. Everyone is intelligent investor over there. Why would you want to get into any business which is not complying? At that time, there was a very important decision that were taken, and that impacts various exchanges, that none of the promoter should own any stock in exchanges like MCX. So if you look at exchanges or look at an exchange like BSE and NSE, there is no promoter entity in shareholding. Shareholding is by institutional investors, major shareholding, not by promoters at all. So promoters at that time were forced to exit. A board was established to run the company, and the board is running that company since then. And that's where, when they got through all these regulatory framework settled, they got into IT problem, tech problem. And once they solved this tech problem, kind of revenue that they're starting generating, and that's showing on this slide, their cost is fixed, tech and stuff, but the revenue is going through great expansion, especially after introduction of option. And there is very limited increase in their expenses. The profit margin is increasing day by day. And so that's why it's a decade-long story. You cannot only study MCX in 25, 26 and say you understand it well. Go back and study from 2012. Go back and study from even when it was not listed. Go back and study from FTIL perspective. MCX has seen it all. They have sorted it all properly. That's why this operating leverage of business model of MCX is working now. Very important to understand this. For them, technology is a capex and it's just not a cost. More technology expenditure that they do, more and more volume is what they can support right now. And now the tech overhang, which was a problem with them, and it took them 3.5 years just to migrate their original software, the original platform, which was a 63 moons, to TCS. And even now there are some complaints, some glitches, those happen, but ultimately we need to track the downtime, whether it is facing the same issues which we were facing in 2022. Should not be. It's not there. That's how they have solved for it. And now they are able to support a scale like 6 lakh crore ADTs, 8 lakh crore ADTs. In fact, there were days in January itself where 9 to 10 lakh crore ADTs were supported. And this is very, very important from high frequency traders. So more ADTs are average daily turnovers. So average daily turnover which is happening on the platform on a daily basis. So technology is what it is supporting. And it is now become a scalable asset for the company. I see the power of operating leverage. This is a fresh numbers which are come last week from FY 26 Q3 report. Revenue is up 115% year on year, has gone to 697. This is the consolidated figures. EBITDA has gone 144% up. That's operating leverage. Revenue only 115%, this is not only obviously, but the EBITDA is 114%, 144%, and PAT is 151%. The increase in PAT year on year is 151%. 1.5 गुना पैट बढ़ गया है 401 करोड़ पे पहुंचने के लिए. And look at the EBITDA margin. EBITDA margin, which previous year was 67%, is now at 76%. 76% EBITDA margin on such high numbers. That is the beauty of the platform. So you cannot value MCX on the basis of gold price. Do a mining company for that. You cannot value them on a basis of a manufacturer from a steel perspective. That is only for steel producers or a stainless steel companies. You have to value it like a tech platform, which is scalable, which is a low marginal, which is a high has a low marginal cost and a high margin business. Value it for its monopoly. If you have to do commodity derivative, because you need volume to get your orders meet buyers and sellers. That network effect is there with MCX only. There are exchanges like BSE and NSEs, those have tried this multiple times and they are trying it also. They have the presence. But the volume that is supported by MCX is amazing. It's a winner-take-all market in a way, and more option purchasers and writers are coming to MCX. It is benefiting MCX in totality. That's the network effect of the business. So the valuation driver is from volume, not from the price. It's from the financialization of commodity and not from the commodity price. That sometimes impact but not in a overall terms. Once a person is there on a trading platform of commodity, he or she will trade whether the price is going up or price down, going down. Obviously, when it's a commodity bull run, which is going on right now, more and more traders will get attracted, more and more speculator will get attracted, and more hedgers or businessmen will want to hedge at that time, because in a bull cycle you don't know how much up price can go up and down in a particular time period of, let's say, a quarter. That's where the beauty is. Few important numbers that we need to track, or other key value drivers uh, for this business MCX. First, need to look it from a high growth tech platform perspective. You cannot say this is a commodity play. You cannot say this is just based on precious metal prices, but need to understand this is a platform which is in a growth phase, which is supported by the commodity cycle, but it's not dependent on it. It's dependent on volatility for that. Definitely P or PEG, the growth perspective, you need to understand on it. Cash flow that is generating, that's very important, and we'll look at those numbers. But the value drivers, which are easy to track, which actually can result in higher, better Ps and better cash flows, volume growth. What is your average daily turnover? That's what contributes. What's their option mix? Option is a higher margin business. If the option traders increases, which is on the volume side of it, that gives more value, more revenue to the company. And you need to understand they have a regulatory mode or not, and we'll talk about it. So ultimately, if you are a busy professional and you get excited about MCX, but you cannot track it on a daily basis, there are people who are actually do what kind of volume is coming on a daily basis, weekly basis, quarterly basis, and there are various resources where they are publishing it. You can go and check that. I'll leave some links in the description. But on very macro level or very high level, if you have to look into MCX, these 5 matrices are the entire business. If you can only track these 5 matrices quarter on quarter, result on result, update on update, you have a no-brainer business in your hand. Average daily turnover, I've talked about it. Options contribution, how much is option contributing to the overall revenue? Whether their unique client codes are increasing or not, UCCs are supposed the user base, whether that is widening or not. That's important to know. What is their EBITDA margin? Whether EBITDA margin is currently, which is higher 70s, whether that is sustainable or not. Anything which is more than 65, 60 is great margin. They are operating 70, 71 right now. And as because there was tech overhang earlier, whether there is a tech stability which is the platform or not. And I will also tell you, let's study the current result of Q3 FY26, which has just come last week, how they have performed on these matrices. Average daily turnover. Look at the average daily turnover. Bullion, which is precious metal, silver, gold, their turnover Y on Y is something I thought this is a mistake. 794%. Quarter on quarter, where the bull run was there in last quarter also, it is 122%. That's their average daily turnover. Future and option. If you talk about futures, future itself, it has increased almost 300% at bullion level, which is the highest contributor to them. Even for base metal, it is 96% in future and option and 62% only in futures. Look at overall. 224% growth on overall future and options. 202% growth in options, in futures. These are unimaginable numbers from a daily turnover perspective. Look at the average options transactions, average daily turnover for options. Bullion again. Well, these are two things, which is notional and premium. Look at premium primarily. Notional is the higher value talk about, but they get their commission on premium, so we are more interested in premium. Notional is a base contract value, which is for our gold example. Let's say 4,000 was notional, but 200 is premium, so we should be looking at premium. So premium, which is in crores, 3,000 crore premium was there in Q3 FY26, whereas in Q2 FY26 it was only 950 crores, and in Q3 FY25 it was 279 crores. See, almost 10 times jump from 279 to 296, 2996. That's 974% premium increase in year on year growth. These are in a platform. Same is with energies, base metals, but ultimately what is important for us? The growth. 100% growth YOY in premium. 73% growth Q on premium. That's important to note. That's how you can, and these numbers are given by the company itself every quarter, every update. You have to just track those. MCX is transitioning from a future-led exchange to an option-led. That is where the beauty is. Current mix is 80% options, 20% futures. That's the beauty of it. Options contribution. See, the options contribution that I'm talking about. In FY25, futures were 71. This is in trillion rupees. And 508 for options. Whereas 71 has only got to 108 in 9 months. We are not even talking about full year yet. In 9 months of FY26, this 508 has already gone to 850. And out of this, the contribution of commodity futures, 78% of the futures turnover is coming from precious metals, gold and silver. Next is natural gas, and then you have crude oil, copper, etc. But 44.75 for gold and 33.77 for silver, ultimately 78% in gold and silver. MCX continues to command over 99% share across bullion, base metal and energy. Coming from official company's update, and I have not even edited it. I have just taken a screenshot from their quarterly update and showing you here. That's option contributions. Unique client code. See the client code, how it is increasing. FY 2023, it was 6.2, 9.3, 23-24, FY 25, 13. We don't have 26 number yet. This was 13, but look at quarters number for Q3. In entire year, last year, it was 13 lakh unique client code. It is 11.1 lakh in one quarter now. Can you see the growth? That's the growth we are talking about. It was 13 lakhs in 24-25 financial year. Out of this, in 9 months, it was 11.2. But in current 9 months, it is 15.4. These are the unique clients, those who are coming and transacting, trading on the MCX. EBITDA margins. 76% of EBITDA margin. See at the growth. EBITDA has grown 144%. Margin they are at 76%. That's the beauty of it. And all these numbers are there to see. And we have already seen, we are only at 3 to 5% of scale. The runway is much ahead of us. See EBITDA. 71% of EBITDA margin in 9 months of FY26. And it's continuously improving. Forget 24 because this is where they were spending on tech primarily. That's where the stability came from. But 63, 64, 71. And 64 in 9 months to 71 here. 63 to 71 primarily. And this was for full year. This is for 9 months only. 762 to 1071 in 9 months. That's EBITDA. And last one, which is the tech stability, whether they are giving a zero downtime or not, or if there is no major glitches. Every con call analysts are asking them, and they have mentioned it time and again. We will continue to be in investment mode for technology. We are ready for high resilience, high availability, high scalability, and functional system. Every quarter you will see that. Thanks to investment of the past, we continue to have a very strong oversight over what is required for the future. That's what their management team is talking about. They are also technology focused to support this. These are the top 5 elements that you need to track for MCX. That itself can tell you whether the story is going in the right direction or not. But there are other growth triggers also. New products. They are time and again launching new products. They just launched energy derivatives. Their options on index has come, which is on Boolean index, metal index. So any index option is also there, and that's also taking up some shares now. Volume is coming over there also, though it is still minuscule. They have just introduced it a couple of quarters back, but that's where it is. New users are coming. I also talk about mutual fund users, those who are coming from any mutual fund which has a multi-asset allocation, they are coming over here. FPIs are coming over here. Tax stability, TCS platform is already live and it is capable of handling 10x of volumes. Volume is increasing drastically, but they are also keeping up with the technology. They are upgrading their platforms side by side. In all this excitement, we should not forget about the risk. There could be some downside too. One, there could be regulatory surprises. We have seen some regulatory changes. So this is also one of the confusion many people have. STT has increased. Now STT has increased, so less people will come and transact on MCX. So one, my dear friend, STT is not applicable on MCX. It's CTT which is applicable on MCX, which is a commodity tax. One, commodity transaction tax. Whereas the stock transaction is there on NSE and BSE. So that's there. In fact, a long shot, if STT has increased, CTT has not increased, people who are transacting on equity can actually move from equity to commodity. Could be a thing. But SEBI can surprise you with any other regulatory action which may be required for regulating this or curbing any retail action if that increases. But right now, because the participation is so less in commodity, regulators or SEBI or exchanges will actually want more and more participation and not want to curb them. As of now, this is, as I said, it's a nascent 2005 stage of NSE. People want more people to come over in the commodity exchange right now. So that is a little less risk, at least from a short-term perspective. This is a digital monopoly. As I said, tech glitches have happened in past. That has costed a lot to the company. It took 3.5 years just to transfer platform from older company to new company. That's very, very important. And there was one tech glitch which was mentioned in Q2 con call. Though it was very small, but still there was a glitch which people worked on, team worked on. Another is asset concentration. 80% of future, as we talk about, 78% of future is coming from precious metal, gold and silver. So they need to diversify. Putting the summary together, we need to understand MCX is not a bet on price of gold. It's a bet on financialization of Indian economy. Financialization of commodity in Indian economy. MCX has 3 primary triggers which will drive its growth: volatility, financialization, and operating leverage. As India will move from 4 trillion to 10 trillion economy, there is a need to hedge the commodity. People will understand the importance of it. They will do it more often. They will do it more exponentially. And this, in all this, there's one company which is set to benefit from it, which is MCX. So MCX will not grow because gold will go up. It may not. MCX will grow because India will learn to hedge risk. That's the most important part. That is what we should be looking at. So my friends, this was my understanding of MCX. this is what I see, the long runway that we have in front of us because of all the various factors that I talked about. So we discussed what is futures, we discussed what is options, we discussed how MCX is making money from it, we discussed this is how this is a bridge business or a toll collection business for us. This is sitting at such a beautiful operating leverage which can kick in, which is already kicking in, and we can, and it is just a nascent stage of the industry right now, which can grow multiple times from here. We, as a keen learner to businesses, which is as a keen learner, should keep our close eye, a hawk eye on a business like MCX. Study more, read more about it, comment, discuss with me. I'm open for any healthy discussion around this. I might be wrong somewhere, just point it out and we can discuss. Uh, Happy investing. Thank you. Bye bye.